What's going on, guys? No, just checking in, and today I want to talk about depersonalization, derealization. It's a condition that a lot of people suffer from, but a lot of people don't talk about. And it really does take a backseat to depression and anxiety, but it's often comorbid. It's this feeling like you're in a dreamlike state, like you're very numb, emotionally speaking, and in other ways too. That's putting it very vaguely, but if you'd like a greater description, if you're trying to figure out if you do suffer from this, then I will leave a link in the description below of a video I already made describing it to the best of my ability. So right now I want to talk about the things that make my DPDR worse. For me, it's comorbid with anxiety. So naturally when my anxiety is worse, my depersonalization is worse. But I'm going to list off some stuff. Hopefully some of this is of use to you. If you are new in this, if you're dealing with it, if you're in the shit of it, be brave, hang in there, you can do this. I've mostly recovered and so can you. I'm not trying to be cute, I'm just saying. I mean, if you were like me when I was really bad off, you just need someone to say it. I think you're going to be okay. Just control what you can, and hopefully some of this info will be helpful to you. So going outside used to be a big thing for me. I'll go ahead and mention it. It's not much of a big thing for me anymore, although I still am more aware of my DP when I'm outside, and I think it's a stimulation thing. So as you might imagine, going into even more stimulating places outside, so to speak, like parks and fairs and ball games or whatever, where there's tons of people, big crowd, a lot of stimulation, that can make my depersonalization worse, and it's something I have to keep in check. Over time I've been a lot better. I've been able to go and do these things, but I had to start gearing my life and my days and my weeks and my plans around the fact that it's a little harder to be around people. Call it a little bit of agoraphobia mixed with some claustrophobia and the fact that I dealt with anxiety and depersonalization. So if I could limit that when I was at my worst, it helped, and sort of ease into it. That's just something to think about. Another thing that made my depersonalization worse, this isn't obvious, this is a gimme, but drinking and smoking. Drinking and smoking make it worse. If you happen to be a weed smoker, you're safe here, I'm not judging you, but just know that you probably should cut that shit out if you're struggling with depersonalization. Derealization, it is probably, in my opinion, the #1 cause of depersonalized episodes and anxious episodes, because people reach out to me every day talking about how they smoked, and that's what did it. And naturally when you drink, of course, you feel more depersonalized, but as a depersonalized person, you kind of feel that way anyway, and so when you do it, it sort of magnifies it, and then your hangover and the days it takes for your already sensitive brain to get better, it can fucking frustrate shit. So that would always make mine worse when I drank. Always make it worse, and not just acutely, sort of like for a while. It took my brain a long time to recover from just like a drinking episode or a binge drinking night, and smoking weed, like I said, it's just a no-no. But do what you gotta do. Figure out a balance for yourself. I'm not judging you, I'm just telling you what I've learned about myself and about a lot of other people. Another thing that makes my depersonalization worse is when I eat really shitty. I think my brain, God made me sensitive, and so when I put tons of processed foods, tons of sugars, when I'm spiking my insulin over and over again, crashing and going up, crashing, going up, it just makes shit worse. I feel more foggy, more depersonalized, so it's something to be mindful of. If you can control your diet, if you can find a way of living that's a little healthier, a little cleaner, it'll probably make your depersonalization worse. Another thing that's important to do is to seek support. A lot of people try to deal with this shit on their own, and when I'm not seeking support, my DP gets worse because I have more intrusive thoughts, more ruminating thoughts, more hopeless thoughts, and then I can only challenge them so many times before I start buying into it. Most people kind of can attest to the fact that when you feel like shit and you're dealing with mood disorders, you kind of like have a Jekyll and Hyde thing going on in your head. You're like, I can do this, I'm gonna beat this shit, I'm fucked, I'm not gonna beat this shit, and you need support. So when I'm not getting support, when I'm not meeting up with my therapist, when I'm not reaching out to my local community of people that suffer with mood disorders, have like a depression support group, things get worse for me. So if you're one of those people that has yet to make that step, there's no shame in reaching out for support, and I implore you, I urge you, empower you to go do that, find some support. Stimulants. That's a big one. Stimulants. If you're one of those people that you like your coffee, you like your energy drink, you like your pre-workouts, you might have to reconsider or at least minimize. I went through a phase when it was really bad that I couldn't do any of those things at all. I think it went like a year and a couple months where I didn't touch a stimulant. I just didn't touch it because I was so sensitive. So I cut that out for like a year and a half, and then I was slowly able to reintroduce. I still stay away from pre-workouts, I still stay away from energy drinks, but I will drink a cup of coffee a day. Anyway, so learning those habits, those techniques for managing my stress, some of them were like so obvious and I almost felt silly, but when I just started doing it, when I just swallowed my pride and started doing these things, I was learning about self-care and how to manage your stress and how to be more stress-free. Even some of it sounded like hippie shit, but I did it and it helped. The next thing I want to bring up is having structure. having structure. When I have structure, I just do better, because when I don't have structure, I'm left more to my own devices, more to my own thinking, and I tend to go the wrong way. I tend to almost like self-implode, attack. And so when I develop more structure in my life, somehow, some way, my depersonalization got a little bit better. And what I mean by structure is just like waking up and making my bed, preparing a breakfast that I know is good for me, making it to work if I'm able to work. If you're not able to work, making it to your doctor's appointments, having a lunch schedule with a friend, going to the pool and going for a swim, getting a massage if you can, listening to some soft music and meditating, just having routine. Some people get this idea that having routine is boring, or that means you're like a very plain person. In my opinion, learning to have a routine and learning how to build structure in your life that's healthy and positive, if you're trying to overcome something major, like I am, and like you might be, that's just part of it. I mean, you just need to accept it. It doesn't mean you can't be spontaneous. It doesn't mean that there won't be more room to play around with it in the future, but right this minute, that's what you might need, and that's what I still need to this day, and I can still improve on. It's structure, and so I try to keep that in my life. And I think the other thing I would say is just eliminating toxic people. I think I'll end it with that. We need to have people in our lives that believe what we're going through. And if you don't have people in your life that can support you, that don't believe you are dealing with what you're dealing with, or just don't know how to be helpful, you need to set boundaries with them. I said it in a previous video, but it's really important for healing, in my opinion. So I try to eat as clean as I can. I avoid stimulants. I try to keep structure. I'm mindful of the situations, the environments that I'm going to be in. I stay away personally from drugs and alcohol. I meditate. I try to get plenty of rest. When I'm underslept, that makes my depersonalization worse. And I basically just control the fundamentals of life that I can. And as you get better, you're able to tiptoe around and figure out what works and what doesn't work. But in the beginning, it's all about eliminating the negative things and then having some belief in yourself. And so I stay believing every day that these little actions will add up. And I hope some of that info is helpful to you. If you're super in the pits right now, if you're freaked out of your mind, just know that you're not alone. There's a lot of us out here dealing with this, and you can get through this. You can get better. I went from that hopeless state where I didn't think anything better could happen, and it did. And so it just really does take daily action, and that's I'll leave it at that. When I'm not putting daily action into my wellness, shit just gets worse. So yeah, just stay on top of your stuff, be brave, hit me up, and if you like this video, if it was any use to you at all, please like the video. It really does help support the channel. Just hit that like button, and otherwise, thank you for your time. Be brave, 1 day, 1 hour, 1 minute at a time. You can do this. If I can do this shit, you can do this shit. And if I missed anything, guys, leave me comments down below. Help me out. Obviously, I want this sort of thing to be something we all reach out and support each other about. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for your time.